Welcome, everyone. I'm Serena Johnson, the co-chair of SECAF. I'm very pleased to be speaking to you today about our GovCon Awards. To start off, the Small and Emerging Contractors Advisory Forum was founded in 2001 to educate and champion government contractors to enable growth rates in a highly competitive marketplace. We've pulled together a number of knowledgeable people for this webinar today, including my fellow board members who have been involved with the awards program since its inception. They can offer expert advice on what it takes to submit a compelling SECAF awards application. We are now proudly in our second decade of the GovCon Awards. We have celebrated hundreds of extraordinary companies and people over that time period. I'm now going to turn it over to Kathy Alvarado to discuss our agenda for today.
Thank you, Serena. As Serena mentioned, I'm Kathy Alvarado, an active board member and past chair of SECAF, and we're really excited you're here with us today. In the course of the next 20 minutes or so, or less, we're going to discuss the following: the Growth Award categories for Government Contractor of the Year, which are under $7.5 million, $7.5 to $15 million, 15 to 27.5, and then 27.5 to 50 million, the Award of Excellence, Project of the Year, and our Mentor-Protégé program of the year as well. All have their own nuances, and you'll be given some insight into how to best leverage your content to really show and highlight your organization's successes. And then we'll wrap it up with a summary of best practices or things we would certainly recommend you take into consideration. To launch the guiding principles, we want to give you some things to think about. So engaging language counts. Well, what does that mean? That means that we really want you to take the time to submit your application as you would a bid, a proposal, a recompete. It's not something you can do with a couple of days' notice and do it well. In general, that's been our experience. So use language that shows how you've been active in our industry. I would encourage you not to cut and paste from your website, because certainly people can read that, and it tends, in general, they're not as compelling as if you're really focusing on the questions and talking in active terms. Highlight the discriminators that set you apart, right? What are your differentiators in industry and within your particular service area line? Make sure you bring some focus on that. Teamwork is critical. What do we mean by that? We mean sometimes we see leaders submit applications that really highlight either only the senior leadership team or potentially just the founder themselves. And we really want to know what you do as an entire organization. So how are you leveraging your employees in that capacity? How are they serving industry? Could it be they speaking at conferences? Are they published authors? What are you all doing as an organization really helps provide a compelling argument. And tell us your story, right? We consider this, we have hundreds of applications could be submitted, and the selection committee will be reading through many, many pages. So this is your opportunity to really talk about your unique differentiators and tell us your story. Everybody loves a story. So give that some thought. How would you really tell your story as opposed to just citing metrics in a really transactional way? We encourage you to consider all categories and apply for more than one. You can apply for as many categories as you feel are relevant to your situation. And we encourage you not to be discouraged. There will be some awards that are open just to SECAF members, and we will point those out here shortly. But don't be discouraged. We encourage you to join. If you feel that there is an awards program that really highlights your organization or that you can speak strongly to, it is a very easy process to become a member of SECAF, and we would certainly encourage that. And then one thing that we really want you to understand and to trust us with is, as selection committee members, we see many applications, hundreds of applications. All of us on this webinar today have been actively engaged in this process for some time. And the standout companies can set themselves apart by telling us more about who they are than what's on the surface. And additionally, that requires you, we recognize that requires you to give us information that is confidential. And we hold that with the highest degree of trust and confidentiality. We launch our sessions with that commentary. Our leaders make that very clear for selection committee members that they are not to have conversations about what is seen in the room on that day with anyone outside of that room. And we actually have them sign documents that say that they are willing to adhere to that. So please know that all of your information that you submit is certainly handled in the strictest of confidentiality. And now I'm going to turn you over to my colleague, Cameron Hamilton. Cameron, take it away.
Thanks, Kathy. Again, I am Cameron Hamilton, a former chair of the board and current board member, been involved with the awards gala since its inception. And I want to talk about the 4 Contractor of the Year Growth Awards. And I'll break those up into 2 different categories. The first point to make is that which revenue category you apply for is defined by the year that you have just finished. It's not the average of the last 3 years or last 5 years as the rules are changing. It is the year you just finished. So for the first 2, under 7.5 million and 7.5 to 15 million, we are looking for sustained revenue growth, not just kind of a flash in a pan. We're looking for hopefully multiple years of revenue growth. But please remember, if you're not 3 years old, don't worry about that. That's not going to ding you. That's hopefully some really good growth in those first year or 2 years of your existence. We want to understand the factors that contributed to your growth and how you've been able to create and build that growth. Again, going back to what Kathy said, tell us your story of what you've been able to do. In these 2 categories, preference and set aside revenue, whether that's women-owned, Hub Zone 8A, small business, SDV, OSB, or any other form, that is not going to be a ding. Please understand that we view those programs as absolutely effective tools to create and build past performance. But make sure we understand too how you're using them, hopefully in an effort to build long-term sustainability for your business. Let us know how you're starting to think about diversifying out of your initial beachhead. Being a mile deep and an inch wide is not a bad thing, but let us know how that is being built. And again, tell us the story within your strategic plan of how you're growing your business, be that within customers or be that in core competencies. As we move to the next 2 categories, 15 to 27.5 and 27.5 to 50 million, the categories that the judges are looking for and what they're holding you accountable for is becomes slightly different. So have you used your consistent growth to build a long-term and sustainable business? Are you have you been able to use those initial years to build solid, sustainable capabilities, employees, technology in a business that is in good shape going forward? At this point, we're starting to look for more prime revenue. Have you been able to take your capabilities and sell them directly to the customer, and the customer looking directly to you for your specifics? Hopefully there's some decreasing dependence on set-aside programs or preference programs if you were using them. There are no specific metrics. There's not a threshold that we are looking for to hold folks accountable. What we're really looking for here is the trends. So again, tell us the story of how you're able to increase at whatever level of percentages or on these categories. Talk us through a little bit of the strategy for your continued growth so we understand where you're going and the rationale for the business you've built and how you will continue to grow this business and move into the future together. Those qualitative aspects are absolutely important here to differentiate you from your peers. With that said, I'd like to pass the microphone over to Megan Gifford for talking about the Award of Excellence.
Thank you, Cameron. Appreciate that. As Cameron mentioned, my name is Megan Gifford. I'm also a board member with SECAF. and involved in the programs committee. So I'm here to talk to you about the Award of Excellence and Project of the Year. So Cameron just went over the 4 different size and growth categories. These 2 categories are a little bit different for a number of reasons. First one being that they are both eligible for only SECAF members. So first up, the Award of Excellence. This award is open to SECAF members only with a revenue cap of $50 million. And as with the size and the growth awards, this one too is based on the previous year's revenue, not an average of the last 3 or 5. The Award of Excellence is really designed to honor a company who demonstrates excellence within the community, in the government contracting industry, and towards their employees. We're really looking for submissions here that capture the work of the entire organization, not just one person or a small dedicated team of people. We really want to see how this excellence is threaded through the entire company and the impact that you're having on your community and your employees. A few different ways to demonstrate that and things that we certainly look for. The first is an impact on the community, focus on partnerships, initiatives, charitable giving, ways that you are expanding your reach outside of just the 4 walls of your organization and really engaging with the community. For this, obviously, it's great to understand, if there's charitable giving involved, a dollar value there, but we're also really looking for things like the number of hours volunteered or contributed. As always, the sum is greater than one person's actions, and looking at the quantifiable hours dedicated to a cause really helps drive that home. And then another point here is, how does your company engage with employees and take care of them? What kind of culture do you foster within your organization? How do you invest back in your employees, whether it's through education initiatives, leadership training, incentive compensation, things that you do together to really make sure that you as an organization are invested in your people. And then last point of that is, what are your future plans for sustaining this excellence, right? It's not just what we've done today, but how we've built a culture and an organization that, will continue to embody this excellence as we scale. So really looking for kind of that holistic view of excellence throughout your entire organization. And moving on to Project of the Year. So this is our second award category that is open to all SECAF members. There's no size cutoff at all here, whereas the previous had a $50 million size cutoff. So for Project of the Year, we're really looking for that game changer project that has a wow factor. It can be any type of project. If you look back at our past winners, there's been all types of projects that have been nominated for and won this award. So don't limit yourself to thinking that it has to be a certain type of work. What makes a successful submission in Project of the Year? We're really looking for not just a summary of the project or a recap of what you did, but a compelling story about what sets the project apart. This is a great opportunity to be creative with your writing and really let your story and your personality shine. Some things to think about as you complete your application that are helpful for us. First one is, how did you leverage innovative and proprietary discriminators in the execution of your project? So, this could be methodologies, tools, products, etc. But, what did you do that no one else could have done on this project? And the second big piece here is, how did the project impact the government client, right? We want to understand how you really created value for the government client that you serve. This could be financial, efficiency, health and safety implications, but don't limit yourself to just what's on this page. I think there's a large, there's a large number of ways that the work that you're doing is driving positive impact for these clients. The more you can quantify, as always, the better. And keep in mind that while it is not required, if you have specific testimonials or kudos from your government customer, that is extremely helpful for our committees as they review your application to really help this project come to light. It's great context. And with that, I will turn it back over to Cameron.
Thanks, Megan. The last category we have to talk through is the Mentor-Protégé Program of the Year. And this is designed to recognize companies that have contributed to the small business community by taking the time, effort, and spending their resources to support a small business through the Mentor-Protégé program. This can be applied for by either the mentor or the protege. So if you're a protege of somebody that's treated you very well, it's a fantastic opportunity to recognize them in the public marketplace. If you're a mentor, think about using this as a way to recognize and support the efforts of your teams that have worked with those proteges and helped you in these efforts. The question can be answered and applied for from any of the growth categories, any of the Contractor of the Year categories, and we have streamlined it as much as possible. It is only one question. So while it's a standalone category, we really encourage folks to think about recognizing their mentors or their proteges through this process. It's a fantastic way to recognize a very important part of this ecosystem in our small business community. Some parting thoughts for everybody to think through as they look at completing their application. Remember to do it with the fact that there is a selection committee and judges reviewing this in the mind. It's not necessarily your customers, it's not the general public. The selection committee and judges want to hear the story of your growth. The numbers and the quantitative data are pieces of that, but build the house, with those as bricks, but make sure you really tell all of us about the secret sauces and the qualitative stuff that have made you successful. Personalize it. Please don't skip or quit on any of your answers. That creates an impression that is never positive for you. Personal answers and stories can be very, very helpful. Be proud of the business that has been created. Don't hesitate to brag. We're here to celebrate you and your accomplishments, and we want to know about those. So don't hold back. Let us know what your company and the people that work for your company, what they've done. We're all better working together than any one of us individually. Please look at all of the awards and consider, your company as being potentially applicable for more than just one, whether that's the growth categories as well as the other qualitative categories. So think about applying in both. And with that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Serena to wrap us up.
Thanks, Cameron. And thanks everyone for watching, and thanks to my colleagues who lent their perspectives today. Before we close, I want to remind everyone that the SECAF team is here to help. If you have any questions about your application, please reach out at any time by dropping an email to info@secaf.org. Again, that's info@secaf.org. Good luck with your applications, and we'll see you at the gala.